The Kansas City Chiefs are set to lose running back Isiah Pacheco for an extended period of time. I didn't want to make a video about this yesterday because we didn't have any of the details, and I even considered not making a video today, but I think that there are some interesting points worth talking about with Isiah Pacheco and his absence from the Chiefs offense moving forward. Now, this is going to be something difficult for this offense, despite the fact that they do not run the ball too terribly much. It looks like Isiah Pacheco will be out between 6 and 8 weeks. This would mean that he is expected to miss the Falcons, Chargers, Saints, 49ers, Raiders, Buccaneers for sure. Those are the 6 games, but also the Broncos and Bills, which would make basically 9 weeks because of the bye in there as well. But it's always difficult to understand how much of the rest time is going to be from the injury versus. We don't know exactly what's going on, if there's going to be surgery. We don't know if there's going to be flare-ups with the injury itself. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong along that process. 6 to 8 weeks is more of a guideline, but this would put him back for the Panthers game on November 24th, which would leave 7 games to go on the schedule from the time that Isiah Pacheco comes back to this offense. And I think that is important. He's going to miss extended time, but he's going to be back for the end of the season, which is to say he will have time to get back in shape. He will have a lot of fumbles that happen with running backs happen on a return from injury because you don't simulate getting hit with the ball in your hands while you're injured. So that will not happen for Isiah Pacheco come playoff time, come the time when the games really matter. Now, obviously, already on the roster, the Kansas City Chiefs have Carson Steele and Samaje Perine. Even if another name is brought in, these 2 players are going to factor heavily in. Look, we are here with the going into week 3, and Samaje Perine, who is a veteran and knows NFL football, has not contributed very much to this team. It is said that he is still learning the playbook. So anyone who does come in is going to have a buffer time before they have fully downloaded the Andy Reid offense in their noggin. Also, the Chiefs do still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the non-football injury list. He is eligible to return in 2 weeks. They have as well, which who knows if he will, right? That is eligible to return, not to state that he will, just to state that he can't before then. Keontae Ingram and Emani Bailey are both on the practice squad, but guys, I don't know that either of those are really an NFL player. Keontae Ingram has plenty of NFL experience. He's not a solidified veteran, but he's been on the field plenty of times. And Emani Bailey from the preseason, I didn't see anything. Now, it's hard to tell when you're working with a backup offensive line, but I didn't see any signs that his explosiveness and shiftiness will translate to the NFL. Great college player. Don't know if it's going to work in the NFL. Also, when you're looking at Carson Steele and Samaje Perine, you're looking at power runners. They do not add the same element of speed that did Isiah Pacheco. Now, Isiah Pacheco never really broke off as many big runs as a 4.37 40-yard dash would lead you to believe. But that is because one of the reasons for that is that he was not averse to contact. He would just try to run through people, and he did not have quite the heft as someone like Carson Steele. Carson Steele, we saw a couple times already. We've seen a couple times already that this heft of Carson Steele, this unbreakable will of Carson Steele is more than just a preseason fabrication. Now, I'm not going to say that he's going to be Mike Allstott. Some of you might not understand that reference, but he's going to be able to push a pile, he's going to break some tackles, and he's going to fall forward. Those things alone are going to keep the Chiefs' offense above water if he is able to be in the games. Now, is there a possibility for outsider influence in this room? Now, the first thing I'm going to say before the obviously inflammatory talking point that has been circling on the internet, Deneric Prince is on. He knows the playbook. He is on the Dolphins practice squad. You can poach players from another team's practice squad. You just have to sign them to your active roster. And that would be the case here in Kansas City. No one would be brought in to be placed on the practice squad, I don't believe. Even if it's someone off the street, they're going to be brought into the active roster and fostered that way. Deneric Prince knows the playbook. He has shown promise. He has not been anywhere near what it was that I had hoped for Deneric Prince, but he is out there for the taking. Now, getting to the big talking point here. Apparently, and this has been doing the rounds on social media. This has appeared on Arrowhead Pride, so I feel comfortable talking about it as if it were, because if you'll notice, I don't do a whole lot of the speculative stuff besides mock drafts. I don't do a whole lot of the, wouldn't it be great if the Chiefs traded for XYZ? That's all fine and dandy stuff. It's not what I want to do. I have to couch this statement because it seems so absurd. The Chiefs have apparently brought Kareem Hunt, he of kicking fame, to Kansas City for a visit. Now, Kareem Hunt, in his time after the Chiefs, there's an old country song, how does it go? I'm not as good as I once was, but I can be as good once as I ever was. Kareem Hunt never looked the same. For a game, Kareem Hunt would look the same for a couple plays in a game. I find the Kareem Hunt talk believable, certainly, perhaps troubling. Troubling why? That would seem to be a move of desperation. I don't think that Kareem Hunt is someone who's going to contribute meaningful snaps to an NFL team at this point. I didn't think that he looked the same the last time we saw him. And I don't know that I think that there are probably a slew of running backs who find themselves currently as free agents, as is what happens with running backs after, say, 4 years in the league, that could probably add a dimension here or a dimension there. Maybe I am completely wrong. That said, we're here going into week 3. Kareem Hunt has not been on an NFL roster. Is he in shape? Can he do kickoff duty? What are we expecting out of Kareem Hunt being on the roster that we would not get from someone like Keontae Ingram? Now, this is not to belittle Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was great for the Chiefs early in his career. Great for the Chiefs early in his career. I don't know that we ever saw that post-Chiefs for a game at a time. So would I be opposed to the move? No, absolutely not. Kick the tires, fire her up and see what's in the engine, right? See what's in the tank. What is Kareem Hunt today? So maybe the interesting thing about Kareem Hunt that is compelling in this regard is that Kareem Hunt was never particularly an exceptional athlete, like from a testing standpoint, etc. But he was always a very good football player. So it might be that once he got to Cleveland, he did not have the team around him that he had in Kansas City. And when he was a focal point of that offense in a way that would not have been similar to Kansas City, because in Cleveland, he was expected. The whole time he was even in Kansas City, even before the Patrick Mahomes era, the Chiefs' offense was multiple. You did not have to feel like Kareem Hunt was the primary threat. It may be that just that little amount, that opens up a defense for you. You're getting different angles from linebackers because they're not lined up directly in front of you. You're getting different angles from the safeties because they're not creeping up to the line of scrimmage. They have to have a too high against Patrick Mahomes. Just that little bit of freedom would allow an athlete like Kareem Hunt, who had incredible vision, the ability to do different things on the field that I don't know he was ever afforded in Cleveland. Look, it's the sport of football, right? There's a billion things going on any play at any given time, and sometimes there are bigger bullies than the other bullies present. So there are so many different factors that sometimes guys just don't work out different places. So I would not be opposed to it, but I don't know how much I expected. The next thing really worth talking about here is this. Look, obviously, there's nothing good about losing Isiah Pacheco. There's nothing good about losing any of these players. You don't like to see injuries at all, but here's the thing. A stretch of the schedule that at one point looked kind of like it was going to be the easy part with the Falcons, Chargers, Saints, Raiders, Bucks, and Broncos no longer looks easy. The Falcons just beat the Eagles. The Saints have probably been the most impressive team in the league. The Chargers are 2-0. The Raiders are going to make things difficult on the offensive tackle, and they just beat the Ravens. The Buccaneers are 2-0 with Baker Mayfield looking like Peyton Manning. Throw in the Bills and the 49ers, and this is going to be a tough stretch anyway. But if the Chiefs can figure out how to win through this stretch, it will pay dividends in the playoffs. It is likely, knowing Andy Reid as we do, that the Chiefs are going to de-emphasize the run without their starting running back. The Chiefs and Andy Reid kind of appear like they want to de-emphasize the run, whatever excuse it is that they can get. But with an added emphasis, in all likelihood, on the passing game, it is absolutely necessary that Patrick Mahomes and the wide receivers wide receivers and tight ends, hammer out all of those little things that just haven't been working quite well enough. One of the things that we talked about around this time last season, ironically enough, with all of the drops and the opening day loss, et cetera, was that the Chiefs didn't need a number one wide receiver. If you remember back that far, that's what we were talking about, that the Kansas City Chiefs could be good enough if they just had a couple guys who did a couple things. Now, the Chiefs do have a number one wide receiver, Rashee Rice, and he has been playing like a number one wide receiver. He has been very good this season. But if the Chiefs can come up with something for, say, Xavier Worthy to do reliably, he's played quite a few snaps. Xavier Worthy has played 78 offensive snaps through 2 games. It's quite a bit. He had a stellar opening week. Kind of disappeared last week. If they can find one thing for him to do in this offense during this 6 to 8 week stretch, they get to build from there. Justin Watson kind of been invisible. Figure out his role in this new offense, in this new depth chart for the wide receivers. Mecole Hardman, Sky Moore, absolutely invisible. And if you want to talk about conspicuously invisible, what about Travis Kelce? Now, he had a big one that was called back because of a penalty against the Bengals. But other than that, he's been pretty invisible. If the Chiefs can figure out what's going on there, they can take that next step forward. The double-edged sword of this is that they will have to do it under live fire. But here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is as good as anyone, possibly better than anyone ever has been at getting the win. You don't have to have a perfect game, but Patrick Mahomes knows that when that scoreboard hits 0-0, if you have one more point in your column than they have in theirs, it all kind of counts the same. So there will be added time necessarily, almost said necessitatedly, necessarily for these Chiefs to be figuring out their passing game. And we all know the Chiefs are going to rely on the passing game when push comes to shove, and especially in the playoffs. So without that crutch, pardon the pun, of having Isiah Pacheco to lean on in the, pardon the pun, in the running game, they're going to have to figure things out fast. Last season, it didn't work until the latter half of the season. This year, I think the Chiefs have enough of the constituent parts already figured out. Travis Kelce, once you find him, and Rashee Rice, that they can figure out the roles for other receivers in better time than they did last year. Because last year, all they really ended up finding was Rashee Rice, and it was good enough to win the Super Bowl. Now, add to that, the Chiefs have already beaten two of the tougher teams in the AFC, or so we think. We think the Bengals and Ravens are going to be there come playoff time, but they're both 0-2. And guys, you know this just as well as I do. Every year, there are 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 teams that everyone thought were going to have a real legitimate shot this season that just plain stink. And sometimes it's the exact same moving parts as it was the season before, but things unravel quickly. It's possible that either of those teams kind of stink this year. It's possible that both of those teams kind of stink this year. I still think they'll get it figured out, but having this basically 2.5 game lead in the AFC as far as what it means to have the number 1 seed is incredible. The Chargers are 2-0, but the Chiefs play the Chargers twice. So the Chiefs really are in control of things at this point. Injuries were going to happen. This is the 5th point here. Injuries were going to happen. It sucks to see it happen to a guy like Isiah Pacheco, but the perhaps silver lining to that is this. You know, no one is going to bounce back with as much pep in their step as the young running back. If anyone is going to take this in stride, get better from it, come back stronger than he was before, I think that it is Isiah Pacheco with that iron will he has. This is all to say that Isiah Pacheco is going to expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks for the Kansas City Chiefs. That is all I have for this video. I will be back tonight with a rookie recap video. I already have some of the maths worked up for that, where we will talk about all of the rookie goings on for the Kansas City Chiefs this past week. So hit the like button if you liked this video, because that really does help me out. It tells YouTube to share this video with other Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every week, sometimes multiple videos in a day, and I hope to have you back for the next one.